The learnings of Nishmas Etta Ahuva Maseches Gitin Perek Beis Mishna Aleph. Hamevi get me Medinas Hayam. If someone brings a get from Medinas Hayam, he's a shliach to bring a get from the husband to the wife. Omar, and he says Befanai Nechtav, Avaloi Befanai Nechtam. So in Perek Aleph Mishna Aleph we learned that you have to say Befanai Nechtav U Befanai Nechtam, and over here either he only said Befanai Nechtav, or the next case is Befanai Nechtam Avaloi Befanai Nechtav is he only said Befanai Nechtam. So he only said one or the other. The third case in the Mishnah is Befanai Nechtav Kuloi Befanai Nechtam Chatziyai. So he says that he Befanai Nechtav, that he says, but on the Befanai Nechtam he only saw one of the Eidim, not the other Eid. And lastly is Befanai Nechtav Chatziyai Befanai Nechtam Kuloi. So Befanai Nechtam was good. He saw both Eidim sign, but in the writing of the get he only saw part of the get was written Lishma. So the Gemara over here asks, which part of the get was written Lishma? If it was the first half, so then we learned that Afilu leikasa by Elishita achas Lishma, Shuv ein etzarech. As long as the beginning of the get is written Lishma, the rest of it does not have to be Lishma. We assume that it's Lishma. So the Gemara says, must be over here that the reason why it's puzzle is because he only saw the second half of the get written Lishma. The Mishnah continues, Echad Omer Befanai Nechtav, Ve'echad Omer Befanai Nechtam, Puzzle. If of the two Shluchim that are coming, one of them said Befanai Nechtav, and one of them said Befanai Nechtam, then it's puzzle. They both have to say Befanai Nechtav, Befanai Nechtam. So in the Gemara, there's two Lashonos over here. The first lashon is that we are talking about that the get was not Yotze Mitachas Shneim. The Hainu that they weren't both shluchim. Only one of them was a shliach, and that's why it's puzzle. But if both of them were shluchim, then you would not have to say B'fanai Nechtav, B'fanai Nechtam at all. Rashi explains because the reason is only because ein edim mitzuyin l'kaimai, and over here, as long as there's two edim that are bringing it, it's already edim mitzuyin l'kaimai. So even if one says b'fanai nechtav and one says b'fanai nechtam, it would be okay. According to the other mandama that says ein bikin lishma, we already said in the last parak that he's also maskim to the chisar of ein edim mitzuyin l'kaimai. And over here, we're talking about that there was no problem of lishma because it was la'achar shalamdu, and even though they were geyser. Afal Pikein Shema Yachzar Davar Kakuloi, over here where there are two Eidim, it's Loi Shliach, so there were no Geyser. So the only problem would be Kiyam, and like we just said, if there's two Eidim already, then it's Mitzuyin L'Kaimei. The other Lashon in the Gemara held that no, even if the get is Yotze Mitachas Yidei Shneim, even if they're both Shluchim and they're both holding on to the get, still it's going to be possible if one said B'fanai Nechtav B'fanai Nechtam. Since there's only one saying B'fanai Nechtam, and he's not being made on the Ksiva, so there's a Gzeira, Atzi L'Echlufe B'Kiyim Sharis, the Alma, that you're going to think that normal Kiyim Sharis only needs one aid. The next part of the Mishnah is a Machlokes. Shnayim Omer B'fanai Nechtav, Ve'echad Omer B'fanai Nechtam. Let's say there were two Eidim saying B'fanai Nechtav, and only one saying B'fanai Nechtam, so then it's a Machlokes. Tanakama says Pasal, or Yehuda says Machsher, and over here they're chaylik in this case whether you say Asir L'Chlufi B'Kiyim Shtaris or not. Do you say that since there are two Eidim saying B'fanai Nechtav, so therefore there's no Gzeira of Asir L'Chlufi B'Kiyim Shtaris? Or no, since the Shliach at the end of the day didn't say B'fanai Nechtav, so there's a Gzeira of Dom Asir L'Chlufi B'Kiyim Shtaris. And the last case of the Mishnah is Echad Omer B'fanai Nechtav, V'shnayim Omer B'fanai Nechtam, kosher. So over here, L'Kuli Alma, it's kosher. According to Mandar Eidim Mitzuyin L'Kaima, because you mamish have two Eidim over here that are being made on the Chasima, and therefore it is kosher. In the Gemara, there are two Lashonos in Reb Ami, whether that has to be that the Shliach is the one that's saying B'fanai Nechtav. In that last case, that only one saying B'fanai Nechtav, does that has to be that that's the Shliach? Or even if the Shliach is saying B'fanai Nechtam, so Maskonas HaGemara would also be kosher. Mishnah Beis, Nechtav Bayom and Nechtav Bayom, if the Ksiva and the Chasima were both by day, Balayla and Nechtam Balayla, they were both by night, or Balayla and Nechtam Bayom, the Ksiva was at night and the Chasima was by day, it's kosher. But let's say it was on two different times. So Bayoim, the Ksiba was Bayoim, the Nechdam Balayla, and the Chasima was only later Balayla. So then the Tanakama says it's possible, and Reb Shimon says it's machshir, that it's kosher. Shahir Reb Shimon Omer kol Gitin shenichtu Bayoim and Nechdam Balayla psulun chutz megitei nashim. Reb Shimon holds by other stars it's going to be good, but by gitei nashim it's not going to be good. So why was Zman Misakin altogether by Gitin? So in the Gemara is Machlekes Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan says it's Mishum Bas HaChoiseh, because it's a gzeira that a person is going to lie about the time that the get was written in order to prevent his wife from being Mechuyev Chenek if he was married to his niece. So if she was Mizana, he's going to lie and say that she was Mizana after the Zman that the get was written. And the second answer is Rabbi Shlakish says it's because of Paris, because we're afraid that the Baal is going to lie when the get was written in order to be mafsid the Paris of his wife. Meaning he's going to say that the get was later and that which he sold was his. He had the right to sell her Paris Nechsei Milot. So the Tanakama could hold like either one, and that's why over here, if it's written by two times, it'll be puzzle. But Reb Shimon, the Gemara says, has to hold that the reason is because of Paris, and Reb Shimon holds that from the time that a person decides to divorce his wife, Mishasha Nosan Einav Legarish Boy, Kimin Shanosav Einav Legarish, Shuv Ein Le Paris, he doesn't have Paris anymore. So there's no chash that he's going to lie about the Zman of when the get was written, because it doesn't have to do with what's written in the Zman. And it's totally on when he decided to give the get.